Sylvia Rafael was born in a quiet town, Graf Reinet, South Africa. It was a place far from the world of spies and secrets. Her father was Jewish. Her mother was not. This made her life different from the start. Growing up, she felt like an outsider. She saw the injustice of apartheid all around her. The system separated people by the color of their skin. Sylvia hated this. She felt a deep anger at the unfairness of it all. It was a fire inside her, waiting for a purpose. She was a bright student. She learned quickly and saw things others missed, but she was restless. The small town felt like a cage. She dreamed of a bigger world, a place where she could make a real difference. She moved to a kibbutz in Israel. A kibbutz is a community farm. It was a new beginning. Here, everyone worked together. It was a world away from the divisions of South Africa. She felt a connection to this new country. It was a homeland she had never known, but her old life and the feelings it gave her were not gone. They were simply waiting. In Israel, Sylvia worked as a teacher. She taught English to children. She was good at it. She was patient and kind. But the quiet life was not for her. The world outside the kibbutz was full of danger. Israel was surrounded by enemies. Every day brought news of new threats. Sylvia felt the pull of this struggle. She wanted to do more than teach. She wanted to protect her new home. She did not know it yet, but someone was watching her. Someone saw the fire in her eyes. They saw a woman who was not afraid. Her past was a strange mix, a South African childhood, a Jewish father, a Christian mother, a hatred of injustice. This combination made her unique. It made her someone who could understand different worlds. She could move between them. This ability was a rare gift. In the world of secrets, such a gift is a weapon. Her early life was the perfect training ground for a spy. She learned to observe. She learned to hide her true feelings. She learned to be someone else. The girl from Graf Reinet was about to disappear. A new woman was about to be born. One day a man came to see Sylvia. He was not from the kibbutz. He was quiet and observant. He asked her many questions. He asked about her life in South Africa. He asked about her family. He asked what she believed in. Sylvia answered honestly. She spoke of her anger at injustice. She spoke of her love for Israel. The man listened carefully. He did not say who he was. He did not say why he was there. The meeting was a test. Sylvia did not know it, but she was being interviewed for the most secret job in the world. This was the first step, the first door into the shadows.
Mossad doesn't just look for soldiers, they look for a certain psychology.
They need people who can live a lie without losing themselves. They need chameleons, people who can blend in anywhere. Sylvia's background, her feeling of being an outsider, made her a perfect candidate. She had been playing a role her whole life in a way. They saw that potential in her. They saw a patriot who looked nothing like what their enemies would expect. The mystery man saw it too. After the first meeting, there were more. They happened in secret places. A quiet cafe in Tel Aviv, a park bench at sunset. Each time the questions went deeper. They tested her memory. They gave her puzzles to solve. They watched how she reacted under pressure. They wanted to see if she would break. Sylvia was strong. She was intelligent. She was also curious. Who were these men? What did they want from her? The secrecy was intense. It was a world of whispers and hidden meanings. She felt a strange pull toward it. It was dangerous, but it was also exciting. Finally, they told her the truth. They were from Mossad, Israel's secret intelligence agency. They wanted her to join them. They wanted her to become a spy. It was a shocking offer. Her life as a teacher would be over. She would have to leave everything behind, her friends, her name, her very identity. They offered her a chance to fight for Israel in the shadows. It was a dangerous path. Many did not return. But for Sylvia, it was the purpose she had been searching for. The fire inside her now had a direction. She said yes. Sylvia Rafael, the teacher, was gone. A ghost was about to take her place. The training was harder than anything she had ever known. It took place in a secret location hidden from the world. Here, they broke her down and rebuilt her. She learned how to handle weapons. She learned self-defense. She learned how to follow people without being seen. She learned how to lose a tail in a crowded city. Every day was a test of her mind and her body. The instructors were tough. They pushed her to her limits. They wanted to see if she had what it took to survive in the enemy's world. Failure was not an option. She learned the art of disguise, how to change her appearance with makeup, with a wig, with a different way of walking. She became an actress playing a role on the world's most dangerous stage. She was taught how to create a legend, a completely new identity, a new name, a new history, a new family. This fake life had to be perfect. Any mistake could mean death.
The legend is everything, says former intelligence analyst Eva Golan. It's not just a fake passport, it's a whole life.
You need to know your fake mother's birthday, your fake school, your first pet. You have to live it and breathe it until it feels more real than your own past. Sylvia excelled. Her instructors were impressed. She had a natural talent for this work. She was a quick learner, and she was fearless. She was sent on small missions to test her skills. She would travel to European cities. She would have to make contact with other agents using secret codes. She would have to pass messages without anyone knowing. These early missions were designed to build her confidence. They were also designed to see if she would make a mistake. She never did. She moved through the world like a phantom. She was becoming the perfect weapon. Her final test was the hardest. They put her through a mock interrogation. They locked her in a small room. They shouted questions at her for hours. They tried to break her spirit. They wanted to be sure that if she was ever captured, she would not talk. Sylvia held on to her fake identity. She did not give them anything. She passed the test. She was now ready. She was no longer Sylvia Rafael. She was a Katza, a field officer for Mossad. She was given her first major assignment. She was given a new name, Patricia Roxburgh, a freelance photojournalist. The world was her stage now. Patricia Roxburgh was born. She was a Canadian. She was a professional photographer. She was charming. She was intelligent. She was independent. This was Sylvia's new skin. She lived in Paris. Her apartment was her base of operations, but it was also her cage. She could not have real friends. She could not fall in love. Every relationship was part of the mission. Every conversation was a potential source of information. It was a lonely existence. The constant pressure was immense. One wrong word, one slip could unravel everything. She had to be Patricia all the time. As a photojournalist, she had the perfect cover. It gave her a reason to travel. It gave her a reason to be in interesting places, meeting important people. She moved in high society. She went to parties in Rome. She attended events in Geneva. She photographed diplomats. She photographed businessmen. She photographed activists. No one suspected the polite Canadian with the camera. No one knew she was a hunter. She was searching for Israel's enemies. She was gathering intelligence. Her camera was not just for taking pictures. Her eyes were her real lens, capturing every detail, capturing every secret. Her work was crucial. She identified terrorist cells operating in Europe. She tracked the movement of weapons. She discovered secret bank accounts that funded attacks against Israel.
An agent like Sylvia was invaluable, explains intelligence journalist Daniel Silverman. In the 1970s, Europe was a playground for terror groups. They felt safe there.
An agent who could infiltrate their world, one who could get close to them socially, was worth more than a battalion of soldiers. She could get into rooms no one else could. Sylvia, as Patricia, was a master of her craft. She used her charm as a weapon. She could make powerful men feel comfortable. They would talk to her. They would tell her things they shouldn't. She would listen. She would smile. She would take notes in her mind. Every piece of information was sent back to Tel Aviv in secret messages. She was a vital link in a chain of defense. She lived a life of glamour. She lived a life of danger. But beneath the surface, she was always Sylvia Rafael, the girl from South Africa, fighting for her new home. The loneliness was her constant companion. It was the price of her service. The world changed in 1972. At the Munich Olympics, Black September attacked the Israeli team. They killed 11 athletes and coaches. The world watched in horror. For Israel, it was a declaration of war. Golda Meir made a secret decision. Israel would hunt down every person responsible. They would find them wherever they were, and they would eliminate them. The mission was named Operation Wrath of God, a mission of vengeance, a mission for the shadows. Sylvia Rafael was called to join the hunt. Her skills were needed. She joined a Kidon unit, Kidon, Hebrew for bayonet, Mossad's assassins, the sharp end of the spear. Her job, find the targets. Using the cover, Patricia Roxburgh, a photojournalist, track the terrorists across Europe. Track them in the Middle East, confirm their identity, map their routines. Then the Kidon team would move in. Cold, precise, deadly work. The pressure was unbelievable. Not just gathering information anymore. This was life and death. One mistake, wrong person killed, or the target escapes. She lived on a knife's edge, traveling city to city, following faint clues. Using every skill. She charmed informants, she bribed officials, she planted secret listening devices, a predator stalking prey through Europe's urban jungles. The glamour of Patricia was gone. Only the grim reality of the hunt remained. Operation Wrath of God. Morally complex, a true gray zone, an extrajudicial killing campaign. But for Israel then, it felt like survival. They believed showing strength would prevent more attacks. Agents like Sylvia stood on the front line of that ethical battle. They weren't blindly following orders. They believed they were preventing future massacres. They saw themselves as soldiers in a war, even if the battlefield was a Roman piazza or a Paris street. For Sylvia, it was clear duty. She was protecting her people. One of the key targets was Wael Zweiter. He was a Palestinian intellectual and writer living in Rome. He worked at the Libyan embassy. To the public, he was a poet and a translator. He was well liked in Rome's literary circles, but Mossad believed he was much more. Their intelligence suggested he was a leader of Black September in Italy. They believed he was involved in planning terrorist attacks. He was a target. Sylvia and her team were sent to Rome to confirm it. They had to be absolutely sure. Sylvia, as Patricia, began to work her magic. She used her press credentials to move around the city. She observed Zweiter from a distance. She learned his daily routine, where he ate lunch, which cafes he visited, who he met with. She and her team built a complete picture of his life. They followed him for weeks. They listened to his phone calls. They read his mail. They were looking for the one piece of evidence that would confirm he was their man. They needed proof that the poet was also a killer. The team confirmed the intelligence. Zweiter was meeting with known militants. He was involved in weapons shipments. The public face was a lie. The poet was a key part of the terrorist network. The order came from Tel Aviv. The mission was a go. The team planned the operation carefully. It had to be clean and quiet. They chose the location, the entrance to his apartment building. They chose the time, late at night, when he returned home from dinner with friends. Everything was set. On the night of October 16, 1972, the team moved into position. Sylvia was part of the surveillance team. Her job was to watch the street and give the signal when Zweiter arrived. She waited in the shadows. The minutes felt like hours. Then she saw him. He was walking alone. She gave the signal over a hidden radio. As Zweiter entered the lobby of his building, 2 members of the Kaidan team stepped out of the darkness. They fired 12 bullets, 1 for each of the Israeli athletes murdered in Munich, plus 1. Then they vanished. The mission was a success. For Sylvia, it was another ghost to carry. The hunt continued. The next major target was Ali Hassan Salameh. He was known as the Red Prince. He was the chief of operations for Black September. Mossad believed he was the mastermind behind the Munich massacre. He was intelligent, he was charismatic, he was extremely careful. Finding him was difficult. He was a ghost. For months, Mossad chased shadows across Europe. Then they got a break. A source said Salameh would be in a small town in Norway. The town was called Lillehammer. The team gathered in Norway. Sylvia was there. She was still Patricia Roxburgh. The atmosphere was tense. Norway was quiet and peaceful. It was not like Rome. It was not like Paris. The team felt exposed. They were strangers in a town where everyone knew each other. They tracked the man they believed to be Salameh. He was a waiter named Ahmed Bouchiki. He was a Moroccan man. He lived in the town with his Norwegian wife. He looked like the photograph they had, but there were doubts. Some team members were not sure. His routine seemed too simple. He did not act like a terrorist leader on the run. The pressure from Tel Aviv was immense. They wanted Salameh. They had been hunting him for a year. The team leader made the decision. It was him. The intelligence was deemed good enough.
This is a classic case of confirmation bias, explains analyst Ava Golan. They wanted it to be Salameh so badly they ignored the signs. The photo they had was old and unclear. They linked him by resemblance and built a case. It was a catastrophic failure of intelligence analysis.
On July 21, 1973, the team followed Bouchiki and his pregnant wife home from the cinema. As they got off the bus, 2 agents approached. They shot him in front of his wife. They killed an innocent man. It was a terrible mistake. The waiter from Morocco was not the Red Prince. He had no links to Black September or any terrorist group. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong face. The killing of an innocent man on the quiet streets of Lillehammer shocked Norway. The police launched a massive investigation. The Mossad team tried to escape the country, but they had been careless. They had used rental cars that were easily traced. They had stayed in hotels using their real cover names. The peaceful setting had made them complacent. They had broken the rules of their secret world. And now, the trap was closing. The hunters had become the hunted. 2 members of the team were arrested at the airport in Oslo. They were trying to fly back to Israel. They had fake passports, but their stories fell apart under questioning. One of them had the phone number for a Mossad safe house in his pocket. It was a rookie mistake. The police raided the safe house. They found Sylvia Rafael there, and others. The network collapsed like a house of cards. The legendary Patricia Roxburgh, the charming photojournalist, was now a prisoner. Her cover was blown, her secret life was over. The trial was a global sensation. The world was given a rare glimpse inside the secret operations of Mossad. Sylvia and her colleagues were put on display. In the courtroom, Sylvia was calm and composed. She did not reveal any secrets. She stuck to her cover story as long as she could. But the evidence against her was too strong. The Norwegian authorities had pieced together the entire operation. They knew who she was and what she had done. The mask was finally removed. The world saw the face of Sylvia Rafael, the spy. Narrator. She was convicted of complicity in the murder of Ahmed Bouchiki. She was sentenced to 5.5 years in a Norwegian prison. Daniel Silverman. The Lillehammer affair was a disaster for Mossad. It exposed their methods, it embarrassed the Israeli government, and it led to the death of an innocent man. For the agents who were captured, it was the end of their careers. Prison is the ultimate failure for a spy. Sylvia Rafael went from being one of their top agents to being a symbol of their biggest failure. It was a brutal fall from grace. The prison doors closed behind her. The silence was absolute. Prison life was a new kind of hell. It was cold. It was boring. It was lonely. For a woman who had lived a life of constant movement and danger, the confinement was crushing. She was locked away in a foreign land, far from the country she had fought to protect. But Sylvia was a survivor. She had been trained to endure hardship. She used her time in prison to study. She learned the Norwegian language. She read books. She never showed weakness. To the other prisoners and the guards, she remained a mystery. She was a quiet, dignified woman with a secret past. During her trial, she had a Norwegian lawyer named Aeneas Schjøtt. He was a brilliant lawyer. He was also captivated by his client. He saw the woman behind the spy. He saw her intelligence. He saw her strength. He saw her vulnerability. As he worked on her case and later her appeals, they grew close. A strange and unlikely love story began to unfold in the middle of an international espionage scandal. The spy and her lawyer fell in love. It was a connection she never thought she could have. It was a real relationship, not part of a cover story. After serving just 22 months of her sentence, Sylvia was pardoned and released. She was deported from Norway. She could not return to Israel as a hero. The Lillehammer affair was a deep stain on Mossad's reputation. She was a ghost, a reminder of a terrible failure. But she was not alone. Aeneas Schjøtt, her lawyer, left his life in Norway to be with her. They got married in 1976. Sylvia Rafael, the Mossad agent, became Sylvia Schjøtt, a wife. They settled back in her home country of South Africa. She had come full circle. She lived a quiet life. The world of spies and secrets was far behind her. She never spoke publicly about her time in Mossad. She carried her secrets with her to the end. She had lived many lives: the girl in Graf Rene, the teacher on the kibbutz, the photojournalist in Paris, the hunter for Mossad, the prisoner in Norway. Now, she was simply a woman living a normal life. But the shadows of her past were long. She had seen and done things that most people could never imagine. The quiet life was her final cover story. Sylvia Rafael died of cancer in Pretoria, South Africa in 2005. She was 67 years old. She was buried in Israel with full military honors. The secret soldier had finally come home. Former heads of Mossad and old comrades from the shadows came to pay their respects. They spoke of her courage, her dedication, and her patriotism. The shame of Lillehammer had faded over time. What remained was the memory of a woman who had given her life to the service of her country. She was recognized as one of their greatest and bravest agents. Her story is a powerful reminder of the human cost of espionage. It is a world that demands total sacrifice. Sylvia gave up her name, her identity, and her chance at a normal life. She lived with constant fear and loneliness. She made choices in the dark that would haunt her in the light. Her life shows the deep conflict at the heart of the secret world. The need to do bad things for what is believed to be a good cause.
She was both a hunter and a victim of that world, a patriot who killed and a woman who loved. Dr. Aaron Bergman. The legacy of Sylvia Rafael is complicated, concludes historian Dr. Aaron Bergman.
On one hand, she was part of a state-sponsored assassination program that made a horrific mistake. That can't be ignored. But on the other hand, she was an incredibly brave and gifted individual who operated under immense pressure in the defense of her nation. She is a symbol of the moral compromises that intelligence work often requires. Her life wasn't a simple story of good versus evil. It was a story lived entirely in the gray, and that's where the truth of espionage is always found. Sylvia's life was a cinematic thriller, but it was real. A woman born an outsider who found her purpose in the most secret of families. She was a weapon, a ghost, and a patriot. Her name is not known by many. Spies are meant to be forgotten, but her story endures: loyalty, sacrifice, and the hidden wars fought in the shadows. Sylvia Rafael was a secret soldier, and her life was her final, most complex, and most compelling mission. The girl from Graf Reinet left a mark on history that can never be erased. Between the lens and the shadows.